back with another lesson. In this lesson, we'll discuss about nucleus. So from that, your atom has a central massive core. This central massive core was called as your nucleus. It was not until the year 1932 when Chadwick, led by Heisenberg, proposed a proton-neutron model where they have given you the picture of this nucleus. So what are the components or the constituents of the nucleus? Nucleus is made up of protons and neutrons. So let's discuss about the protons first. This red one. Protons are your fundamental particles which are the nucleus of a hydrogen atom also I can say. Fine. These are your fundamental particles. So let's take a look at your hydrogen atom. This is your hydrogen atom. The hydrogen atom has a nucleus. Inside the nucleus there is a positive charge, that means only one proton. So let us suppose we supply some energy and this electron is ejected from the atom. What happens? The only thing left is your nucleus, or the only thing left is your proton. So proton I can also say is the nucleus of the hydrogen atom. The proton has a positive charge 1.6 times 10 to the power minus 19 coulombs, and it has a rest mass of 1.6726 times 10 to the power minus 27 kg. Moving on to neutrons. Neutrons are also your fundamental particles, but they are chargeless. They don't have any charge. And your neutrons are slightly heavier than your proton. The rest mass of the neutron is 1.6749 times 10 to the power minus 27 kg. Fine. Your proton and neutron, both of them makes the nucleus. There might be a different number of proton, there might be a different number of neutron. The collection of proton and neutrons will make the nucleus. And remember, who gives the mass to the atom? It is the nucleus, that is the proton and the neutron. Your nucleus is composed of your protons and neutrons. Your protons and neutrons are very identical particles. Their mass is also very close to each other. So the nuclear force also does not distinguish between the protons and the neutrons. So they have a collectively your protons and your neutrons are known as your nucleons. So what are nucleons? Nucleons can be either your neutrons or it can be your protons. That means the constituent particles of the nucleus. Fine. Next, the protons and the neutrons have different charge. The protons are positively charged, whereas your neutrons, they don't have any charge. They are neutral. So the only way to distinguish between them is by using an electromagnetic force, where the positive charge will get influenced by the EMF, whereas the neutrons will be undetected or undeviated. Fine. Moving on. Some common terms describing the composition of nucleus. So the first term is your nucleon. What is a nucleon? Protons and neutrons which are present inside the nucleus or nuclei of atom are collectively known as nucleons. So the protons and the neutrons which lie inside the nucleus are known as your nucleon, or I can say the fundamental particle inside the nucleus, which can be a proton or neutron. These fundamental particles are known as your nucleon. Next, atomic number. The number of protons in the nucleus is called the atomic number. It is denoted by Z. So suppose let us consider this is your nucleus. Inside this nucleus, how many protons are there? This white one denotes your proton. There are 2 protons. So the atomic number of this element will be 2. This atomic number is denoted by capital Z. Moving on to mass number. The total number of protons and neutrons present in a nucleus is called the mass number of the element. It is denoted by capital A. So what is the mass number? The total number of protons plus the total number of neutrons. In this case, there are 2 protons and how many neutrons? 2 neutrons. So what is the mass number? A is the number of protons 2 plus the number of neutrons 2. 2 plus 2 gives us 4. So the mass number for this case will be 4. Fine. So it will be different for different atoms. So here I've just generalized. This blue one denotes your number of neutrons. The red denotes your number of protons. Collectively, they are known as your mass number. The total number of neutrons and protons is known as the mass numbers. Fine. Therefore, for any neutral atom, we can write the following relations. So let us consider this red one as your protons. So how many protons are there? 2. Fine. Now, what does the number of protons denote? The number of protons denotes the atomic number. And what is the symbol for atomic number? Capital Z. So the number of protons in atom equals to capital Z, and in this case for a helium atom it is 2. Fine. Now if there are 2 protons, that means how many positive charge? 2 positive charge. In order for the atom to be neutral, that means no charge, what we have to do? There has to be 2 negative charge. And what are these negative charge particles? Electrons. Therefore, I can say the number of protons should be equal to the number of electrons. Fine. In order for the atom to be neutral. So electrons also I can denote it by capital Z, and in this case for helium atom it is how much? 2. Fine. Next, nucleons. So what is nucleons? The total number of particles inside the nucleus. So what are the particles inside the nucleus? Your protons and your neutrons. So how many nucleons are there? 4. So your nucleus, and in for helium atom it is equals to 4. Fine. And finally, the number of neutrons in an atom. How many neutrons are there? How will you calculate? What you will do, you will take the number of nucleons A minus the number of protons Z. So 4 minus 2 is how much? 2. So how many nucleons are there? 2 nucleons are there for your helium atom. Fine. Next, we'll discuss the total mass of the proton and the neutrons present inside the nucleus is known as. So if this is your nucleus, inside nucleus you have protons and you have neutrons. So the mass of all the protons and the mass of all the neutrons added up gives us the nuclear mass. That means the mass of this nucleus. Fine. So next is your nuclei. When an atom is stocked off with a particular reference to its nuclear composition, it is called a nuclei. A nuclide is a specific nucleus of an atom characterized by its atomic number Z and the mass number A, and it is symbolically written as like this, where A is in the suffix, Z is in the prefix. Here A denotes your mass number, Z is your atomic number, X is the chemical element. Fine. So let's take an example. Carbon. So the chemical element or the chemical symbol for this element is C. Inside carbon, how many protons are there? 6. So your atomic number is how much? 6. Next, what is the mass number? The mass number is the number of protons plus number of neutrons. There are 6 protons there and 6 neutrons. So what will be the mass number? 12. Therefore, your A equals to 12. So this is the nuclei of carbon atom. Fine. So that's it for today's class. Thank you. And if you have any confusion, please don't hesitate to ask. I will re-explain it to you again.